Confidence makes you unshakable. Arrogance is what reminds them why. You don't walk around proving, but when someone dares to test what you've built, you show them the version of you that never needed their approval. That version is called controlled arrogance. Let me make one thing clear from the beginning. You don't lack confidence because you're weak. You lack confidence because you were trained to doubt yourself. Since you were a child, they planted the seed of obedience in your nervous system. Wait your turn. Raise your hand. Don't speak unless spoken to. These weren't just rules. They were neurological scripts designed to train your brain to seek permission before expression. And now, you hesitate. You overthink. You second-guess every instinct that wants to act boldly. Not because you're incapable, but because your inner programming demands safety before movement. That hesitation is not a flaw. It's an installed defense mechanism, and every time you obey it, you reinforce it. Confidence isn't just believing in yourself. That's a shallow cliche sold by people who never had to fight for self-worth. Real confidence is the absence of internal permission seeking. It's when your mind no longer waits for approval before it moves. It acts because it has already validated itself. It trusts its own pulse. Let me ask you this. Why do lions never explain themselves? Why do storms never apologize? Because nature does not seek permission to exist. It simply is. But human beings? We've been domesticated, socialized into silence, trained to scan the room before we speak, to seek applause before we believe our own voice. This is the illusion of confidence. We've been taught it's something earned by external validation, compliments, rewards, applause, status. But the moment your confidence depends on those things, you've already lost the war. Because what the world gives you, it can take away. That kind of confidence isn't confidence at all. It's dependency, disguised in ego. I'm not here to teach you how to appear confident. That's a cheap trick. Anyone can puff their chest and rehearse eye contact, but when pressure hits, when rejection slams into your spine, when no one claps, no one notices, no one cares, that's when your mask breaks. What I'm going to teach you is how to become confident, unshakably, internally, without needing a single ounce of validation from the outside world. But before we move forward, you need to kill the lie. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't beg. It doesn't argue. It doesn't compete for attention. It simply radiates. The kind of confidence we are going to build doesn't scream in rooms. It shifts atmospheres. It doesn't look around to see if it's being admired. It knows it belongs. But here's the first warning. Once you stop seeking permission, people will notice. Some will admire you. Most will feel threatened because you've escaped the psychological cage they're still trapped in. You've left the herd. And when you stop living like you need validation, you begin to disturb those who rely on it for their identity. So the real question becomes, can you handle the consequences of being free? Because real confidence will isolate you before it elevates you. You'll lose the comfort of approval, but you'll gain something far more dangerous, presence. And presence is power. Let's get real. Most people don't lose confidence in private. They lose it the moment someone else is watching. You know the feeling. Alone, you're sharp, clear, powerful. But the moment you're in a room, on a call, or in front of people, your mind stutters. Your voice trembles. You shrink. Why? Because your brain is addicted to feedback. You were trained to believe confidence is a response, that it comes after someone approves of you, likes you, praises you, rewards you. But that belief is fatal, because as long as your confidence relies on someone else's reaction, you'll always be unstable, uncertain, controllable, a slave to expressions, a puppet to opinions. But there's a switch, a circuit buried deep in your mind, and when you flip it, you stop playing the validation game entirely. That's where internal confidence is born. Here's the hack. You train your brain to give itself the reward. Every time you act before approval, every time you speak without scanning for applause, every time you walk into the unknown without begging for reassurance, you activate a neural loop of autonomy. This loop isn't theoretical, it's chemical. Your brain responds to risk. When you act boldly without external feedback, your dopamine system rewards the risk. Your testosterone levels spike, reinforcing status and power. Serotonin stabilizes your mood, and oxytocin, usually triggered by social bonding, gets replaced by self-alignment. The message becomes clear. I don't need the world to tell me I'm worthy. I decide. This is how warriors are born. Not through applause, but through self-issued authority. You become your own judge, your own audience, your own standard. That's the internal validation loop. And once it's activated, something strange happens. You stop over-explaining. You stop waiting to be ready. You stop asking, am I good enough? Because your system isn't waiting for proof anymore. It's giving itself permission to move. Here's how you forge this loop into something unstoppable. A, the action without permission ritual. Pick one moment every day where you act before you feel ready. It can be small. Speak first in a meeting, post a thought online, strike a conversation, make a bold decision. The goal isn't perfection, it's nerve conditioning. You're rewiring your brain to act without checking for social safety. B, the mirror statement. Every morning you stand in front of the mirror and speak this out loud. I validate myself. I trust my own voice. I do not wait for permission to exist. It sounds strange at first, but this activates the brain's speech feedback loop, reinforcing internal agency. C, kill the apology reflex. Stop over-apologizing for existing. Catch every moment where you shrink yourself, explain unnecessarily, or apologize for confidence. Replace it with calm presence and direct speech. This begins to teach your nervous system that your presence is not a burden, it's a command. D, create private victories. You don't need to post it. You don't need applause. Just do something difficult and celebrate it alone. Write down 3 things each night that required confidence. That's how you train the mind to reward the inner effort, not the outer attention. Because in the end, this brain hack isn't about ego. It's about control. Control over your biology, control over your identity, control over how you walk into the world, even when no one's clapping. And here's the twist. The more you train this loop, the less you need the world. But the more the world starts noticing you. Because energy built from within can't be ignored. It radiates, it's felt, and it disturbs everyone who still needs to be liked to feel alive. You are not one of them. Before we dive deep into this video, let me tell you something. If you're not just watching, but ready to rewire, the brain hacks, the dark psychology, the emotional mastery, the secret formulas for confidence, control, and ruthless intelligence, it's all inside the Whispers Power Bundle. Every ebook, every audiobook, and every future release, unlocked. No theory, no fluff, just pure mental weaponry. If you're ready to move differently, it's waiting below in the pinned comment. Now, back to the real lesson. You've started to build something powerful, a calm certainty, a posture that doesn't flinch, a mind that no longer asks for permission. But now the real danger begins. Because once your confidence becomes untouchable, the ego starts whispering. It tells you you're always right. They just don't get it. You don't need advice. You don't need critique. You've evolved beyond them. At first it feels like evolution, but it's infection. The line between unshakable confidence and dangerous arrogance is thin. So thin most people never see it until it snaps. Here's the truth no one tells you. Arrogance is confidence that has lost self-awareness. It's when you mistake presence for superiority, clarity for infallibility, respect for entitlement, and the moment you believe you're above correction, you've already started to decay. Let's be brutally honest. You've seen this happen. The confident leader who starts ignoring feedback, the talented person who believes they've outgrown learning, the charismatic mind that slowly becomes toxic because no one dares to challenge them. That's the decay of unchecked confidence. It doesn't explode, it erodes. One ignored mistake at a time, one avoided conversation, one refusal to listen. Confidence without humility becomes delusion. You start performing instead of evolving. You become so focused on appearing strong, you stop noticing where you're becoming blind. You build an identity that can't absorb pain, admit failure, or update itself. And that's the most dangerous mind of all. A mind that can't grow because it believes it's already there. But here's the worst part. People will feed your arrogance. They'll applaud it because most people mistake arrogance for power. They think dominance means truth. They're hypnotized by boldness, even if it's hollow. And the more they cheer, the more you believe the myth of your own perfection. Until one day, you fall hard, and no one's there to catch you because you trained everyone to admire you, not to challenge you. There is a way to stay powerful without becoming poisonous, but it requires discipline, mental discipline. Here's how. A. Adopt the rule of inner contradiction. Hold 2 beliefs at once. I'm capable of great things, and I'm capable of massive mistakes. This balance is the anchor. It keeps your confidence grounded in reality, not fantasy. B. Install a humility ritual. Once a week, seek correction. Ask someone you respect to challenge your thinking. Invite disagreement. It's not weakness, it's mental hygiene. It clears the buildup of ego before it becomes infection. C. Study Study the fall of the arrogant. Every month, read about someone who collapsed from overconfidence, CEOs, dictators, visionaries. Learn how brilliance turned blind. Let their stories be your warning. D. Keep a private failure journal. Write down your missteps. Every time you catch yourself acting out of ego instead of clarity, document it. Review it weekly. Why? Because a confident mind needs proof of fallibility to stay sharp. You are not immune to corruption. No one is. The moment you think you are, the infection has already begun. Here's the bottom line. Confidence is strength, but unchecked confidence becomes cruelty to yourself, to others, to the mission. So train your confidence, but chain it to awareness. Otherwise, you'll wake up one day surrounded by silence, not because people respect you, but because they fear what you've become. And what good is power if it turns you into something unrecognizable? Confidence is not a feeling. It's not a mood you wake up in. It's a system, a trained way of responding to the world, even under pressure. But most people try to fake it. They put on the mask. They rehearse the voice, the eye contact, the fake certainty, and it works until reality punches them in the face, until they lose or get exposed or are forced to admit they're not as untouchable as they pretended to be. The lesson? Fake confidence breaks under pressure, but trained confidence tightens because it's built from repetition, not reputation. This is where ego dies and true power is born. You don't become unshakable by feeling powerful. You become unshakable by mastering how you respond to fear, uncertainty, and failure again and again. Confidence is not about being invincible. It's about never needing to be. To build a confidence that doesn't need applause, you need rituals, not ideas, not quotes. Practices that train the nervous system to lead, even in chaos. Let's build them. A. The inner authority declaration. Each morning, repeat this until it hardwires. I do not shrink. I do not beg. I decide. Look into your own eyes, not for inspiration, but command. This is not a pep talk. It's neural reprogramming. B. The stoic reflection drill each night. Write down, what challenged your confidence today? How did you react? What did you learn about your inner response system? Confidence doesn't grow from success. It grows from how you digest friction. Reflection turns experience into intelligence. C. The ego exposure technique. Once a week, do something that humbles you. Speak in front of someone smarter. Ask for feedback. Admit you were wrong, publicly. Why? Because if your confidence only works when you're right or admired, it's not confidence. It's performance. True confidence exposes itself to failure and still breathes calmly. D. The private arena principle. Every week, do something courageous that no one sees. Why? Because when you start performing only for eyes, you build your identity on audience. But when you act in private, boldly, silently, you train your system to be powered from within. Here's the most advanced lesson. Stop tying your confidence to success. That's a trap. If you only feel powerful when things go well, you've built your self-worth on shifting ground, because life won't always reward you immediately. Sometimes it punishes you for doing the right thing. Sometimes it rewards liars, cheats, and noisemakers. If your confidence breaks when outcomes aren't favorable, it was never real. It was just borrowed belief. Real confidence says, whether I win or lose, I remain grounded. Whether they applaud or mock me, I don't shake. Whether this succeeds or fails, I still show up like I belong. That's not ego, that's mental sovereignty. The world tries to control you through consequence. But when you detach your identity from results, you become ungovernable. And that's when confidence becomes a weapon. Not one you wave around, but one you wear, silently, unshakably, unapologetically. Confidence isn't built in moments of clarity. It's built in moments of doubt, when you choose to move anyway. And the moment you stop waiting for the world to say go, you become the force it was waiting for. But remember this, confidence that forgets humility becomes blind, and confidence without discipline becomes dangerous. You must remain sharp, not just bold, grounded, not just loud, clear, not just certain, because the more power you build, the more precise you must become in how you wield it. Let me give you a final truth they rarely tell you. Confidence is not inherently good. It's not a virtue, it's a force. And like any force, if you don't respect it, it turns on you. Uncontrolled confidence doesn't just destroy others, it destroys you, quietly, slowly, from the inside out. It starts with decisions made too quickly, warnings ignored, boundaries crossed. You think, I'm beyond error. They just don't get it. I trust my instincts more than their reality. That's when the flame grows reckless, and it starts to consume the foundation you were supposed to stand on. Your relationships suffer, your vision blurs, your blind spots widen, and the worst part? You won't even notice until the damage is already done, because your mind will tell you it's all just part of being great. That's the final trap. Arrogance in disguise. As your confidence grows, two voices will rise in your head. The first voice is power. It speaks with clarity, not volume. It asks, am I aligned? Am I moving with purpose or with ego? Does my presence build or dominate? This voice strengthens you and those around you. It leads, it sharpens, it elevates. But the second voice is poison. It whispers, they owe me, they're beneath me. I can bend the rules, I earned it. It flatters you, but it corrupts your clarity, and it turns confidence into entitlement. You must learn to recognize the difference, because the second voice sounds seductive, especially when you're winning. But every time you listen to it, you lose something invisible: self-trust, respect, long-term control. The moment you confuse internal power with external superiority, you've stopped growing, and you've started rotting. Confidence doesn't mean you show up loudly. It means you show up exactly as needed. No more, no less. That requires discipline. Here's how to keep the flame burning hot, but never out of control. A. Speak less, mean more. Resist the urge to overexpress. Power is silent until it must speak. Let your restraint become a signal of depth, not fear. B. Remind yourself of the abyss. Study the downfall of great minds who let confidence become arrogance. Make it personal. Look at what they lost, and promise yourself you won't be another name on that list. C. Ask this one grounding question every day. Is my confidence creating freedom or fear? If people around you feel silenced, cautious, or small in your presence, you're not powerful, you're oppressive. D. Build a mirror, not a throne. Keep someone in your circle who doesn't worship you, who questions you, who mirrors your weaknesses when everyone else is too scared to. That's how you stay human while becoming powerful. What you've built isn't ordinary. You've rewired your brain to stop asking for permission. You've broken the chains of approval. You've turned silence into presence and hesitation into movement. But the higher you climb, the more tempting it becomes to believe you're untouchable. Don't fall for it, because the truth is, the strongest form of confidence is the kind no one sees. It doesn't need to dominate. It doesn't need to perform. It just is. And when it's rooted in clarity, not ego, when it's grounded in truth, not arrogance, it becomes something far greater than power. It becomes legacy. So light the flame, but control it. Let it guide you through darkness, not set your path on fire. The world is full of loud fools. Be the quiet storm that walks in, speaks once, and changes everything. The loud perform. The focused dominate. If you're choosing focus over noise, type presence below. Let them scroll. You move different.